to weight painting. In this video you will use weight painting and vertex groups to control where the particle system actually appears and where it does not. So let's hop straight on over into Blender. Okay, so we have our rabbit that we've rendered out here, and just using it for a bit of reference material for a moment, the hair over the entire body and ears itself, it is all uniform. And if you have a look at a rabbit, that's not the case. There's a big, in our particular model that I'm using here, my reference material, I've got a big fluffy chest on my rabbit. The hair is definitely longer on the body than it is on the head, and the shortest place of all is the ears. There's very little hair on there at all. So we could go in and, using the particle edit tool, go in and try and alter all of these, but I can tell you firsthand that that would be an absolute pain to try and do. But what we can do is set up multiple particle systems and actually apply them to certain parts of the body, and those particle systems themselves can have certain attributes. So first of all, let's hop into 3D view. Okay, so this is what our rabbit currently looks like. Now, in order to assign certain areas of our bunny hair to certain parts of the bunny body, we will need to set up vertex groups, and there's a couple of ways you could do that. We've already experienced one way where we select the mesh, the vertices within the mesh and add those to the group, but there's another way called weight painting. So the first thing we're going to do is create one of these vertex groups. So I'm going to go over to the data, the object data window over here, and we've got vertex groups, and I'm going to add one and call it body. Okay, now it's called body. We can literally hop into weight paint and start painting. Now at the moment there's a load of hair in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the particle system at the top here and just click the little eyeball to hide it. And we've got ourselves a blue bunny. Now, like before, we've got a series of brush types. So, looking here, these are all the brush types you can have. Add and subtract are generally the two that I would use. In this case, we're adding. Now, it's blue at the moment, and I'm going to change the strength here to 0.25, because in general there are 4 steps, there are 4 colours. Obviously there's a gradient in between them all, but there are 4 main colours. And I'm just going to draw straight on the bunny here. The first colour is this sort of turquoise or cyan colour. 0 is this dark blue. The next level, about 25%, is shown by this turquoise colour. Then at 50% we have this green colour. Then we have a yellow colour, and then finally a red colour. And a red colour denotes 100% weighting. Now in general, with the hairs themselves, in this case I do want 100% of the body hair. Yeah, that sounds a bit funny, but the 100% of the body hair on the body itself. So we would want to colour in the body all red. Now I'm going to turn the strength up to 1 so that everything I do is straight away coloured red. And I'm going to have to shrink the brush size again using F. I can do that, and using Shift and F I can change the I want to say opacity, but the strength of the brush, and I'm going to leave that at 1 for the moment as well. And the limit selection to visibility tool is also available here, so I'm going to toggle that. Was it on or off before? I just put a line across there. I think it was actually now it's on. So now it's off, we can go around to a side view and paint our model, literally just going over it and filling in all the way up to, let's say, there. That looks a good portion. I'm going to make the brush size a little larger and move it around here, and I'm going to do that area there and the back here. Now, because we've limited selection to visible turned off, we can paint right through our model, and because it's a symmetrical model, that works absolutely fine. I'm going to shrink the brush down here, and now we're at a funny angle. I'm actually going to turn that back on so that I don't end up drawing through our model. I'm just going to colour in the rest of the details around the neck to make sure it's as complete as I want it to be. Right, that's great. Now that is assigned automatically with weight paint turned on. That has assigned this part to the body here. If we were to create a new group under here, you can see in the vertex groups under the data object properties here, you can see that we can toggle between those two groups. Now finally, we will want to go to our particle system and assign this particle system to this actual vertex group. So if we scroll down here, and we'll get to where it says vertex groups, and there are a lot of options. Essentially the one that we want at this point in time is density. When you click on that, it gives us the 2 in this case, the new one that I've just created called group. It gives us the body one, so we select that and there we are, we're all done. If we turn back on our particle system at the top here, you will see that the hair is now wrapped around the body and the body only. Now of course at this point we know that there are enough hairs to cover the entire bunny, so there are probably too many hairs at this point in time just around this part of the body. Now we're going to have to click free edit and remove all the changes that have been done, so it'll go fluffy again, because I know for a fact that there are too many hairs in this bunny now for just the body. So we can go in and start editing again. So I'm going to get it down to 1000 and I'm seeing 25, and again I'm just going to render that really quickly and see what it looks like. That's probably a little sparse, as we can see there, but again that's not how we're going to view it finally. So let's go back to the 3D view and let's go to particle edit and just comb them around so it looks roughly right. So have we got both sides? No, we haven't got both sides. So let's comb them round like this and then go back to render and render the image. Oh, I've done that thing again where I've not hopped out of particle edit. So now it's looking like that. We go and render it. So at 100 children, remember it's the render amount here, we can see that that's just about right. There's a little bit around the neck here where it's not quite full. So I'm going to try increasing the number of children rather than the number of actual hairs. I'm going to re-render the image and see how that comes out. That looks much better. So I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. Of course, I'm free to come back to these at any point, but the moment you go to free edit, you lose the combing that we've just done. Okay, that's looking pretty good, and I have a challenge for you. I would like you to add hair to the rest of our bunny. Create vertex groups for the head, ears, whiskers, so think about where they come from, and the chest. Create new particle systems for these areas. Weight paint the appropriate areas and assign those particle systems to those areas. So pause the video now and give that a go. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's hop straight back over into Blender. Okay, so we have the body assigned. Let's go straight away and just create the rest of the groups that we need. So there was head, and then there was ears, whiskers, and finally chest. So we're going to have a big plume at the front of our bunny. Okay, brilliant. And we might have to assign some different hair types at some point, but for the moment let's actually colour these in essentially. So we're going to go round to the head. I'm going to hide our particle system so it's not in the way and doesn't slow down the viewport, and hop over into the 3D view. I'm going to go round to the side, and I want that side. I will press the right keys one day, and let's colour in the head. I hope we're on the head. Yep, head is selected. So let's go to weight paint and literally colour in our head. Now there's one thing we're going to have to bear in mind when doing this. So that's that there. Let's go round. Oh, I didn't have limit selection turned off. So let's go through and just whiz over real quick that area there. Should have included most of it. Okay, so let's turn it back on again and go round the top of the head and this area here. So I'm going to make the brush size a little smaller, come in and literally just go over the top of here with the strength at 1, so it's an absolute certainty that that's where I want hair. And I appear to have applied a little bit here. Now I want to go to so we're subtract, and just go here. There we go. So you will have that occasionally when you go backwards and forwards and end up drawing over another part of the model. Don't worry if you do it, because you can always undo it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. There's a tiny bit of tidying here to be done. Oh, Subtract's actually got a much lower strength by the looks of it. Okay, let's spin round once more and just get rid of those fun bits. Of course, the eyes themselves, we don't want any hairs going in the eyes. So I'm going to lock it into this view again. And because it's a mirror, what I can do is make sure I'm painting through the model and go in. Oh, I've gone a bit far there. We can undo that. Let's make the radius just a little bit bigger initially, so I can do that. Excellent. Okay, so there's no hairs going to be growing in the base, but there is a bit of a top bit here and bottom. Now, in order to do that, I'm not going to be able to essentially mirror it. I will have to do it manually. So I'm going to have a smaller brush and literally limit selection turned on. Selection of the visible turned on. Go around and do that there. Come in here. That's starting to look much better. Let's whiz around here. Occasionally you will make a mistake doing this, so I suggest stopping every now and again and going at it again. Okay, that's looking good. It's a bit ominous being so close to the bunny. Okay, let's do this one here. So we're almost there. I'm pretty happy with that, especially with the length of the hair around. But then there's the mouth and nose area. Oh, gone inside our model. So fortunately that's roughly the right size for me. And I'm going to try this. It might not work, but that will keep hairs away from the mouth region as well. That will give us a bit more fidelity with the hairs. Brilliant, so that's the head done. We need to create a particle system for it. And we're going to go in and create a new particle system and call it head. Now here, what we can do is pick the body hair one, which looks like that, and make it a unique user by clicking on this number. So now it says body hair 001 and we're going to call it head hair. So that gives us the opportunity to not have to recreate all of the settings we had before. The only thing we will have to do is go down here and go to density and set it to the head, which it will now do. And we can see there that's much better. In fact, we've not got hair in the eye socket. It comes over a little. And we don't have any hair around here. Now, bearing in mind this hair is going to be shorter, so we can make it smaller now. Let's go here, hair length, and bring it right back. The density itself is actually going to have to be quite high. Otherwise, because it's shorter, we won't see it. So let's comb that back and down and around here. Let's just comb that round. Spin round the other side and comb that back and round. Down here. Okay, I'm happy leaving a few stragglers for the moment. Let's just make sure they're going in the right general direction, and the back of the head, of course. Let's comb that down. It always seems funny. Right, let's hop into object mode and just see how that looks. Looking pretty good. Let's unhide the eyes so we can see what's going on again, and just render the image and see how that looks. Okay, we can see the density of the hair is good for the head. There's still a bit of a bold patch here, so we're going to have to do something to cover that up or do something with that, but we can come back to that in a bit. And there's a bit of roughness on the actual rabbit's face around here, but otherwise that looks pretty good. In 3D view, if we look at the front, oh, I can see actually as we move round, I can see a tuft above this eye and a tuft just there. So I'm going to go back around into Particle Edit and just brush that along there. And it was just here, and brush that as well. Now, of course, we can reduce the strength of this brushing as well, which will help massively. In fact, the distance from the face, if we lower that a little more, we can get a better brush or better style of hair, because it will be closer, hugging to the face as we go round. And of course, you can style it round the eyes as well. There's lots of stuff you can do here to make sure that the model is nice and clean. There we we go, that's that bit done. Let's go around the eye here. There we go, that looks pretty good. Now we might need more hairs, actually more, well, we can't go back and do it now, but the number, we might need to increase it to get a better feel of it. But that looks pretty good around there, and obviously we don't end up with hairs around the eyes too much anyway, and it's a bit fluffy there. So I think we just need to brush that back. And again, you can go back, oh, you can actually see that these are a bit tufty anyway, so if we straighten those out, that will flow around the eyes pretty well. Excellent, so let's hop into object mode again. That's a much better appreciation of what's going on there, and of course around the mouth area as well. So we just want to keep the hairs basically away from the mouth, so depending which way they start and go from these are, as you can see, the kinks there, those are the segments. So if we just guide it around, let's increase the strength and the radius ever so slightly. Well, not that much in fact, let's decrease both ever so slightly. There we go, pull that down, pull these down, and eventually we get ourselves into a lovely position when it comes to our rabbit's fur. Okay, let's go back and render that out and see how that looks. Oh, I've done it again. Go into object mode and then render that out and see how that looks. That looks much better. So I'm going to speed the video up now as I go through the hairs coming here for the ears themselves, and I'll slow back down when it comes to the whiskers. So let's go sort out the chest and ears. Okay, so finally the whiskers. So I've got the whisker area set up, but this is one of these places where you're going to want to make sure that your particle system, we haven't added it yet, so let's go and add whiskers in. Now I don't need to duplicate a previous particle system here, but I do need to change this to hair type, and down here set the density to whiskers. Just going to keep it to these areas here. Okay, that's a bit funny. We've got very long whiskers. So for a start, there aren't that many whiskers. We will need to reduce the number. So on emission, oh, we can't do it whilst we're in particle edit mode. On emission, I'm going to go for 16. And they're not that long, so let's go for a length of 1. Maybe less of these, maybe 8. Let's try different seeds, which randomizes it a little. I quite liked number 1 actually, there we go. Maybe 10 or so. Okay, so there's lots of things you can do here. So they're coming out at a very weird angle coming out here, but that's not a problem. There's a bit of a discrepancy with the number here, so I'm going to go back to free edit and remove it. I've just noticed there's like 3 over this side and whatever the number left is over the other side. So let's hop into object mode and see if we can take it down to 10 and just change the seed until we end up with the right number on both sides. I think that's probably the easiest way of doing this. As you can see, sometimes that distribution was quite good. There looks to be about 4 on both sides. There are. And now we just need to deal with how it's looking. So from the top, let's go into particle edit and pull them outwards. And from the front view, or the rear view, let's go to the front view. Yep, that's absolutely fine for the moment. We can deal with more of that later. And the fluff itself for the chest, I haven't actually done that in any detail. So let's go to the chest. It's nice, and I'm actually going to go here and go to length. And by the chest, top of the chest, I want that to grow out a little more on both sides. So I'm just going to make sure it has applied to both sides. Yes, it has. Perfect. I don't know what that's going to look like, but let's go to rendered image. Oh, I've done it once again. Go into object mode first and then go to render image and see how that looks. Excellent. That's starting to look very good. I still haven't dealt with this tuft of hair or missing hair at the back here, but we won't worry about that for the moment. Again, we're still in a prototyping phase at the moment, but we've got all the different parts of the hair all sorted out. So there we go. We've got that challenge. It was a bit of a big challenge, wasn't it? but we've got that nailed. So now go ahead and share your new hairy rabbit with us over in the discussions, and I will see you guys in the next lecture.